Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome in. It's Mikey Wine, aka Gundam Morning Works, and we're here for part 8 of the 148 Macross Black Aces Valkyrie build. Been doing a lot of base work lately, and last week we doing some decals and some panel lining, and I've gone further into that since then, and I'll show you what's going on in just a minute. We had a power outage for most of the day, so I didn't plan a lot because I was kind of convinced by about 4 o'clock that we weren't going to have power and I wasn't going to be able to do this live stream. So power came back on, and I'm throwing this together and I'm going to do some work on the back wall, probably trying to cut some pieces out of some styrene sheet to fill in the outer edges of it, and I'll show you that in a bit. But let's talk a little bit about recap what we did last week. Last week I did a lot of decals, and I was talking about these mecha decals. You guys really should do yourself a favor. If you like decals like me, go to USA Gundam Store. There are 3 different sheets, 3 different colors: red, gray, and white. And now there's actually 4 sheets available. So if you add all that up, that's 12 sheets per scale. And you've got them available in 144 and 1100. So 24 total sheets. If you really want to get crazy and buy them all, go for it. I bought all of the 1100 scale and 144 at the time when they just had 3 sheets available. So, but I have all those, and they're just ridiculously well made. These are manufactured by the company Cartograph, which is a premium decal manufacturer. Their printing is crazy clear, and Child of Mecha, Tim Harkins, is the one that designed them. And I did some magnification. I took some pictures of these because I was trying to figure out which ones to select at the time, and you can actually read clearly everything they say, and you can see this sheet. I mean, this is a 1/100 scale sheet. It's a pretty good size sheet. A lot of decals available. Okay, and this is sheet number 3 in grayscale, but all of these have a legitimate phrase, whether it be a warning or caution label, danger, beware blast, things like. And I took some pictures, and I can kind of show you these real quick as we're going through. But getting back to USA Gundam Store, sheet number 1 is on sale right now for $2.99 a sheet, $3 for all 6 of the original sheets. So sheet 1 in red, gray, and white in both 1/100 and 144 scale are both on sale right now for $3 a sheet. The rest of them, the 144s, I think, are $5.99, and then the 1/100 scales go up to $7.99. But still, if you buy one sheet, take a look at it, use them. Cartograph is one of the, if not the best, decal manufacturer on the planet, and their carrier film is durable. They're really easy to use, and they're super, super clean. And I'll show you some of these images. This is actually right off of my kit. So this is a piece of the sidewall. It's kind of hard to focus with my stupid lights, but anyway, in the center there is a round decal that actually says rotational hazard. And that circle is probably a 1/4 inch around inside diameter. That's zoomed in and magnified. It's crazy. And then there's another caution label that says proper precautions must be taken when working in this area. You see that there, the caution label right above it. And those are zoomed way in, but you can see how clear they are. So I put some more of those on today. It's all I could really do with the power being out. I did some decals with basically daylight. I didn't have any art, my fluorescent lights. Nothing was working. I couldn't do any airbrushing because I didn't have any My compressor, I couldn't turn any of that stuff on. So I just did what I could and pretty much sat around most of the day until it's getting ready to go maybe buy something to eat for dinner because we didn't want to try to cook. And then the power came back on. So I brought the laptop up here, shot everything together, and we're putting together a video. So these were some of the some generic base decal sheets that I bought a little while ago too, and they also had a lot of this caution striping included. You can see the sections that I've cut out; those were solid caution striping, and I used those on the floor because I guess it's not uncommon in the world of aircraft that when you have something on the ground, there is caution striping around the perimeter of the plane. So I thought, what would be more appropriate than to do that here? So I laid down these decals. Not today. I did these when I had actual proper lighting, but I did some more on the sidewalls here, and I'll take those off and show you. Like that photograph I'll show you. I can actually show you the actual piece, and you'll see exactly how small they are. But I also, last week, we finished up doing some of these on the back panels, those decals there. And then I will drill out some holes for fiber optics. I'm going to light up some of these panels that actually have a little, looks like a little window in them. So I thought it would be cool to have some lighting coming through there to look like little electrical panels. I also added the 09 to the floor. I had it on the back wall, but I decided to do it on the floor as well. And I also made a change because originally I blocked these out on graph paper, just using 1/4-inch graph paper, and made some basic, 45-degree angles and stuff to block out these numbers. But I originally had the bottom, I can see the bottom tongue of the 9 here was another 1/4-inch higher, and it was bugging me. It was on the back wall, and it was just bugging me. Didn't look quite right. So when I made the new stencil for the floor, I did it slightly shorter on the bottom here, and I liked it a lot better. So what I did is I went back and I repainted this area right here to match, and I think it looks a lot better. It looks a little bit more uniform. But I also think that these lines look really sharp. Looks really good. It looks so good, Mike. Yeah. Oh, thanks, George. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. We got Gizmos on. How's it going? Looks good. Are you doing weather? Yes, I'm going to be weathering the whole thing right now. I've just finished gloss coating everything and putting decals down. I still have to go back and seal all these with gloss coat, including the back wall, and then I will flat coat or decide what weathering steps I'm going to do. I'm going to have some streaking, looking like tire streaking, kind of where when they're pulling the Valkyries out, there might be some tire marks and scuffs and things on the floor. I'm going to do that. I don't know. These are just ideas that have popped into my head, so I'm trying to figure that out as I go. But right now, this is as far as I got. I couldn't do a whole lot, like I said earlier, because I just didn't have any power. I had no way of doing anything. I just had to use the sunlight basically coming through my window. So I'm going to pop this back wall off here real quick, hopefully without damaging anything. Okay. So there's the floor. I'm going to pull that aside, and I'll show you a picture that I showed earlier with that little rotational hazard decal is right there. That little guy right there. And right now it just looks like a white ring around that little knob, but it does say rotational hazard on there. I think that's just really amazing how clear those decals are. And then I also added some, I don't know if you can even see them. They're red. Yeah, right about there. There's some red decals on these gray areas there. And those say access panel, something like an access panel lock or access panel area. But if you've got good enough eyes that you can read that, then you're doing better than I am, because I can't even see them without my mags. Skid marks. Yeah, something like that, George. I don't know if they're going to be actually skid marks, but you know what I mean. When even if you're pulling something on the floor, there's going to be some rubber, some transfer of material to the floor, and little scuff marks and things like that. So I'll probably use some of those Tamiya weathering kits with a little applicator and make some streaking, kind of like what I did with the Valkyrie, the wing, the swept wing portion where they tuck under the body there. I made some streaking on that too to match that. So, but what I'm thinking about doing today, what's he saying? Let's see. Nice. Hope you make the show Saturday. Nothing to enter this year. Mainly we're going to support. Yeah, that's true. That's good. I mean, even if you can't enter anything, show up and have a good time. But to answer your question, I guess you're asking me if I hope I make it Saturday. Yes, I am going to be there. I've been trying to keep it quiet, so it's kind of more of a surprise. So don't talk to Angel or those other guys. They're probably watching anyway, but I'm going to show up we'll be there on Saturday. We're coming in Friday afternoon, and then I'll be there in the morning. My wife's going to be tooling around Dana Point. She doesn't want to go to the show, so she'll be hanging around doing that, and I'll be at the show all day. So what I was thinking about doing today is I haven't really liked the way all of this in the back it looks. I mean, it's unfinished, of course, because obviously you're meant to look at the front, but I want to kind of clean this up. So I've got some sheet styrene, and I might start doing some measurements. I might even put some strips along this edge where the framing is. But these pieces here, I might just cut out some, like I said, some sheet styrene and glue it down. Maybe paint it black or something neutral, just to kind of disguise all of that, especially like the back wall. I mean, the back wall is just this big structure of pieces, and some of this is going to be fiber optics and wiring, so I'm going to have to build something up here a little bit. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that yet, but we're not talking a lot of fiber optics, but maybe about 30 strands, maybe not even that much, only a few, because each one of these little windows is pretty small. So maybe 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, maybe 20 to 35 strands of fiber optics might be used. But we'll see. I'm going to add, I'm going to have some static lighting, probably white for the fiber optics, and maybe one flashing red. I might do a red flash one at 1 hertz, and that'll be a nice steady blink rather than some of the flashing LEDs I have that flash at 6 hertz. I think 1 hertz is a nice, like I said, it's kind of a steady blink. It doesn't more look like flashing, more just looks like on off kind of thing. But anyhow, how's everybody else's weekend going? Mine was pretty uneventful. Yesterday I went out and did some wine tasting and ran around Woodinville and Kirkland. And then today, like I said, I pretty much sat here because I wasn't sure if the power was going to come back on. And I think it was a controlled shut off of power. It wasn't like we heard winds and blowing and trees falling, and I think there was some damage done, and the power company had to just shut everything off so they could fix it. So they did that for most of the afternoon. But here we are. We made it back. So anyway, I've got some strips here and some sheet styrene. This is all evergreen stuff that you're familiar with, I'm sure. Pretty big, thin sheet here. This is all extra stuff that I bought over the years. I've got this big box that I keep all this stuff in. This is probably one of the nicest box arts there is on the planet. The original Elin Cassatria. Yeah. What a pain in the ass this was to build, but I've kept this box because it was really nice box art, and I love it. So that's what I keep all my extra styrene in. And I'm just going to set this part aside so I can focus on the thinner stuff here. Wine on wine. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny, isn't it? With a last name like Wine, why not, right? Wine not. So I think I've got a piece that is wide enough. If not, I might use this. This is a little bit wider. This is 9.5 millimeters wide, whereas these two are 6.3 millimeters each. So I'm going to take a peek here and see which one kind of works best. And then maybe start cutting some strips off. Wine on wine. Yeah, and the funny thing was, years ago, I never really liked wine. I didn't care for it all that much. So I didn't drink a lot of it. Now that my wife can't really drink beer anymore, that's a little thin. We started drinking a little more wine and educating ourselves on wine and trying different kinds. And yeah, so we've kind of come to like it more and more now. So I've got this piece. This is also 1 mil thick, just a little bit thicker than I was thinking about. But if it works, it works. So I'm just going to lay this down on the edge here and see. You can see that's a little too wide. I may just have to cut some from the actual styrene sheets that I have. I was hoping I had some strips that would just come out of the package and glue right down. Actually doesn't look too bad with a lip there, but I'm trying to finish these edges, not make new ones. So I think I'm going to put this back and try one of the thinner ones again. So this is slightly thicker, but same width. It is 6.3 millimeters wide, 20 thousandths of an inch or 20 hundredths of an inch thick. That doesn't completely cover the back, but it covers the gap, which I think is good enough. As long as I can seal that off, and it doesn't have to be completely boxed out, but at least it's a better finish than just a bunch of these openings. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's true. That's kind of what happened with us too, especially after we moved up here. I mean, we were kind of dabbled a little bit when we were in California at the time, but when we moved up here, there's nothing but wine up here. I mean, there's vineyards everywhere. In fact, just in our area alone, there's probably over 200 tasting rooms just in my area. So, yeah, we've tried quite a few. They look a little bit different than this. I suppose not. No, they're the same. Yeah, darn, I wish I had one. I'm going to check my stock here. I've got to have something. Pull this box back up. Metric or bust. Yeah, I know. I'm just reading it straight off the label. It actually has both measurements on there. It's got the imperial measurements as well as the metric on there. I'm just trying to find something that works, and I don't think I have the right width. All the other stuff I have in this box is all thinner, so I may have to end up using that 6.3 mil stuff after all, or the 10 mil, or like I said, just cut a piece off the sheet. That's a pretty long cut to try to make a nice straight line with, but yeah, I just don't have anything that's wider than that. Looks like it might be time to go back to the hobby store and buy some more. But anyway, I'm going to put this stuff back. I don't have what I need in here. Washington, Oregon are definitely wine rich. Yeah, you are not kidding. I haven't done a lot of stuff in Oregon. We drove through Oregon when we moved up here, but I haven't been down there to check out a lot of the wine producers down there. But we've got enough good ones up here. I haven't been in too big a hurry to jump down there. So let me see what my width actually is here. So in order to do this right, looks like it's pretty close to almost 8 millimeter. Yeah, about 8 millimeters. So this 6 millimeter is just barely big enough to cover an amp. So I think I'm just going to have to cut a strip. If I take this piece of sheet styrene, which is actually almost the perfect width, and just cut a strip off of this and match it up. So that's what I'm going to do. Got my long wool. Let's see. Here we go. This guy. Where is my mechanical pencil? Again, I'm sorry for this because I literally threw this all together in the last minute here because I was unconvinced that we were going to be able to have power enough to do this today. There it is. Okay. So I kind of didn't prepare myself for having. Usually I sit down and think about, okay, what am I going to talk about tonight? I put together a few ideas so they kind of just flow. But today I was more or less just being lazy because I was just thinking, well, what do I do? The power's out. Not a whole lot I can do. So I'm marking this at 8 millimeters. And then I'm just going to cut a strip and see what that looks like. Mark this now that I've got my lines. Just a little pencil line there. Looks good. All right. Good sharp razor. I wish I had some strip because you never can get a perfect cut. That's why I didn't want to do it this way. But this sheet is not overly thick, so it'll take a couple of passes with the razor. Don't have to cut all the way through. Just score it good, and it'll come right off. There we go. Pops right off. All right, so your bench looks cleaner and more. The only reason it looks cleaner and more organized, George, is because I've had to make room for the laptop. When the laptop's not here and the mouse pad and all this stuff, it's a mess. It's forcing me to kind of clean things a little bit so I can make room for the stream and make sure that the live stream goes well and I don't have a bunch of clutter because I got to put the microphone here and the camera pretty much stays there all week long. I don't move that at all. It's on a tripod. So if I put this on, that looks pretty good. See, and that should finish off at least that back edge there. And then I can worry about this here. But I think what I'm going to do, just to hide that edge, whenever you cut styrene, it always gives you a little bit of a lip because the blade is actually pushing through the plastic. So you get kind of a lip. I'm going to hide that on the inside so I don't have to. Yeah, and then I can take a small piece and go this direction. I think that'll work. Actually, you know what? I might be able to get away with 9. Well, actually, no, I cut that at 8. Maybe I need to go down to 7. I'm going to try another one at 7. And we'll see. Sometimes it's about experimenting with. Some bitch. Just broke my lead right off. There we go. So I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to go down to 7 instead of 8. 1, 2, 3. If I like that better, then I'll continue using that. The back of this is actually different widths because of the mold and the way the mold was made. So it's not all the same thickness. I'm trying to get a compromise between all the different little ridges, what looks best, and go from there. Yeah, can I sand the lip down? Yeah, I probably could. The problem is I'm trying to keep from having to repaint as much as possible because I already painted these edges. I want to be able to just stick it down and then paint the back of it. The problem is this is higher than this is by the thickness of this styrene that I put on the outside. So there's these little variations of height. So what I want to do is kind of compromise between that height and put as many as as little as possible there to cover it all up, but still look as nice. So I'm going to cut another strip here. And this is, again, just slightly wider than the stuff I have already. The stuff I had in the package was 6.3 mil. I'm going to 7 mil. And then I'm going to check it if 7 works. There, that came right off. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man? Good to see you guys. I know you guys are back east, so it's late for you. It's my birthday tomorrow, so I'm allowed to stay up late. Yeah, that's perfect. 7 millimeter goes right there, just perfect right there to the edge of that. So I'll cut them at 7, and yeah, I'll cut them at 7. That'll be good. Thanks, George. I'm getting old, man. I'm not quite caught up to you yet, but still there. So I guess we say cheers, everyone. All right. So 7 mil worked good. So I've got 2 of those to do at least. And then I've got this short piece that I have to kind of stack some stuff up. So I'm going to cut one more strip at 7 mil for the other side. Let me just check to make sure it works on that one. I know these are supposed to be the same, but you'd be surprised when you make 2 of something. It doesn't always come out identical. Yeah, see, that one's slightly longer. That's all right. I can feel that. I feel it easy enough. Okay, I'm going to cut another one at 7. And get rid of that. And then you can't be older than 36. Hey, thanks, Brian. I can't be older. Yeah, no, I'm quite a bit past 36, bro. Yeah, that's funny. I find that amusing. So I'm going to cut a second strip at 7. Said that already, didn't I? Wait a minute. That was not right. I gotta go this side. I'm using the wrong side of my ruler here. Almost screwed that up. It's actually pretty close though. Pretty close to what it needed to be. Actually, I'm just gonna use my straight. It's so much easier. I'm just marking these in a couple of spots and then I'm drawing a line. What's up, Julio? How you doing, buddy? Well, the power is back on, man. We're having a live stream. I wasn't sure we were going to put it together tonight, but we made it. Wife's happy. She's got her TV back. She's down there watching tunes or whatever she's watching. Probably a British crime drama or something like that. And I'm up here putting together a live stream. Did I get that right? Ooh. That one doesn't seem right. No, that's 7. Okay. And my bottom line is wrong. One of these looked wider than the other, and I was just, yep, there's my problem. Okay. So my bottom line is incorrect. It looked wider at the bottom, and I was thinking, thought it was the top I messed up, but I'm going to redraw this so I can cut it properly. All right. I heard you were over here making big piles of shit. Yes, I am. That's right. Julio. Oh, man, I missed you, brother. Thanks, I think. Is that what I'm supposed to say? Big piles of shit. Yeah, I guess that's all we're doing, man. Right? So when I'm done here, this is going straight in the bin, right? Is that what we say? Straight to the bin? Toss it. Ain't worth shit. It's a piece of crap. Throw it away. There we go. All right. So 2 at 7. I don't think I'm going to sand these down. I could, but I'll just flip it over so any kind of lip is on the bottom side. Now what I have here is a little bit of a gap issue that I've got to fill. So once I pop this down, I'm going to build that up. So I'm going to get my chopper out here. Chopper coming out. Get to the chopper. That's what Arnie said. You son of a bitch. All right. So I can cut a couple of these off to make like a. Trying not to cut myself here. I've got to build up some of a gap underneath this. See, as this sits on here, I'm going to try to show this to you guys. So as this sits here, right here, you see now there's a gap because of the way it drops away. So there's a little bit of a space underneath my strip. So I'm going to build that up with a couple of pieces of strip here, and I can just glue it down to the back of this to take up that space, and then I won't have to worry about it. Getting the thin cement going. Making room. I was snapping up a Snanderstein. Oh, yeah? That was a foreigner saying, gosh, I got to pay attention to the guy. You guys are having a full-on conversation here. Are you snapping the derpy space plane? Snapping it up. I'm not snapping it up. I'm snapping the Snanderstein. Oh, the narrative version? I have one of those. I think that's what you're talking about. I also have a clear what is it? The clear the Stein? I can't think of which one I'm trying to think of. I don't know. I ain't worried about it. So I'm just going to put some of this glue down so I can build up this end here. And I can check it. Check the thickness of it and see if I got to add one more. So I added a little bit of a shim, so to speak. Oh, the Space Bummer. That's the one you just finished, right? But the one I was talking to you about, those micro missile pods that you got from Brian. Nice. Yeah, it looks like maybe one more will do the trick. So set this here. Take this last piece, double stack it. Where did I? There we are, the tweezers. A bit of cement, and we're good to go. Yep, that's what I thought. That was a really good build, by the way. If you're done with it, it looks amazing. So actually, it looks like I can maybe use one more. Still a little bit of a gap there. So I don't know if it's going to be too thick, but I'm going to try one more. So I double stacked a couple pieces there. Crap, did I cut the wrong thing? No. Here it is. Almost cut one of my other pieces. I didn't want to cut that. Okay. So now we got this piece and we're ready to go. And yeah, hand painting. I still have a couple of figure kits that I want to do, and I bought some like anime flesh tone type paints. You know, there's like 4 of them that you combine to make a good. And I'm just hesitant to start, and I think it's because I'm scared, scared of it. The hand painting part or the airbrushing the skin tones, that's what's got me spooked. Because there's not a big margin for error, and it's hard to, if you screwed up, it's hard to come back from that. So anyway, there we go. Check that. I think that's going to work out just nicely. So yeah, see what I did there? I just stacked some styrene up to fill up that gap. So that will support it when I bring the other piece down from this angle. So I'm going to measure that and cut that. Set this aside. Put my glue back on before I knock it over. That's always a disaster when you knock your glue over. I'm sure everybody here has done it at least once. That's why there's a big clear spot in this cutting mat. Because of all that glue that I screwed up. This was the wider piece. Maybe I should have used it. Let's see. I repainted the face like 3 times. Yeah, I can imagine. See, that's what's got me spooked. And I think that's why I haven't done one of those. Is because I'm just thinking, oh, man. I don't want to have to do that over and over again. 7. Was it 7? I think it was 7. Yeah, 7. All right, I gotta cut another strip here. Take time to get good at it. I've painted 4 figures at this point, and just got my ankles wet. Yeah, I know some people are really good at it. I know, like Clem's one of them. He's got the colors down and everything. He actually mixes his own like skin tone. Even adding like blue to it, and that just, I know it seems weird, but it works. I don't know how he does it, but that's why I think I bought the pre-mixed kit, like 4 different colors, because I was like, I don't want to try to mix my own. And I think the big problem that a lot of people have when doing skin tones is they end up doing it too dark. You end up looking like, Native American color skin, too much red, or just too dark brown, or it's really hard to get that just right. It's really hard to master that. All right, so if this goes here, I can mark this violet and green. See, that's so weird, and I know it sounds weird, but it's true. It just sounds weird when you add like colors like that, but it works. If it's done right, it works. All right, I'm going to cut this off here. Let's see, how can I do this? There we go. Using a square, now we're good to go. All right, so this piece, where is my, okay, here we go. This is supposed to go here, which goes right about there. And this will go here. Nice. I got a little bit to fill there, but at least if I have to paint the sides of this a little bit, it's not going to hurt. I just don't want to paint the whole front of it again. I've already done that and masked it and done all that craziness, so I'm just trying to get something that works well to cover these up, and that's a lot cleaner on that edge than it was. And then once I cover these up, because I remember I got 3 LEDs. I got 2 LEDs here, then 2 on the roof section, so I've got some wiring and stuff to contend with to hide. I may just have to drill some holes so I can run it out the side. I think that's going to be my best bet. In the meantime, I suppose I can get rid of this. That's just in the way. Okay. So I guess I can take a break from this. You want to, I can put this back together and kind of show you guys what it looks like so far. Here's my little high voltage cart. Just going to put a few of these pieces over here and get them out of the way. All right. Let's do this. So I got the back wall. These go on here. All right, pop right in. I've taken this apart so many times that it's actually a lot easier now. Before, these fit so tightly, it's really hard to get this stuff apart. All right, so I'm going to take the top, set this down. There. Yep. There we go. Once I get that in place. Okay. So let me go grab the Valkyrie. Sketchy. All right, so This is going to go here, right about there. Okay, I'm just going to place this here because it's not, the wires aren't through the cart yet, but so you kind of get an idea. I'm just going to set this down. All right, so why am I getting political calls? You can go suck one. All right, so you can kind of see it there. I'm contending with the laptop in the way, but so there we go. Let me turn off my bright lights here and wait till the camera readjusts. Didn't help much, but I'm going to hook up a battery here so you guys can see this all lit up. Without the lighting in the back, it's kind of hard to see. My overhead light, like just the regular bedroom light, is a piece of shit. It's so bad. I need to upgrade the damn thing. It's so light, like it doesn't even do anything. It's hardly any power to it. There we go. Maybe I will turn this on. Maybe that will work better. Can't see the lights all that well, though, can you, huh? But yeah, that's what we're looking at so far. And then I've got ladders and crew members and other stuff going on. To finish it all off. Just don't want to bust that canopy off again. I already had to fix it once. That wasn't fun. Thanks, George. I'm happy with it too. I'm really getting excited about it now that I'm starting to get some decals down on the floor and the base, and everything's looking nice. I'm gonna pop this back in the cabinet before something bad happens. All right. Yeah, so I got these little guys. Let's set this aside here. I think what I'm going to do with this charge cart, I talked about this last week too. So I also have this little guy, the nitrogen cart, but these little IC connectors, and I've cut them down so they're 2 pins now. They connect like that, when they're connected, right? So what I want to do is I want to have one of these in the floor, just sticking up, maybe not even sticking up, maybe flat with the floor. And then the other one I want to have on the bottom of this. So when I transport this thing to shows or whatever, I can place the Valkyrie down with the wires attached to this. I don't have to have it separate, and then I can just plug it in. This will be my plug, and it'll plug in on the floor and complete the circuit, and that will allow everything to light up. I think that's a pretty good idea, and it'll be underneath here. Right now I just have a hole drilled where the wires were coming through, but I think by having this little 2-pin connector, the trickiest part is going to be mounting. I got to make sure it's mounted at the right angle because I have it kind of diagonal on the floor, so I want to make sure that everything lines up when I go to stick it on there. And then if I do it right, boom, it'll go right down. And then when I'm done, all I got to do is unplug it, just pull it up, and it'll disconnect. So you can kind of see that on the floor here. Move these out of the way. All right. So my little hole is actually right here. This little, just take the walls off. It's easier. Hang on, I gotta separate this. All right, there we go. It's pretty tight still, but it comes off. Okay, so if you're looking at the front of this, this is the right front, and then there's my little hole. And I've cut that the exact same size as this, because originally my idea was I was going to have this plug and I was going to feed it through, and then I could plug the wiring in the back. But now I think what I want to do is I'll have my wires attached to something like this, and then it will be kind of just in here. Let me see if I can get it to work real quick, because I cut that hole pretty precisely. So just kind of like that. So it's there. It's sticking up a little bit, but you can kind of see it sticking up from the floor. And then obviously the male side in the bottom of the cart, once this is glued in and mounted, then all I got to do is plug it in. It might be sticking up off the floor just a tiny bit. But then if I do that right, then if I have that just kind of like that, it doesn't have to be much, but just sticking up to where I can pop that cart down on it, and you won't even know it's there, you know. So I'm pretty good at hiding stuff like that. So that's the plan. Is the plan. Okay. And where do we go from here? I don't know. I really like the way this turned out. These the caution striping. And that was basically 4 big decals, big long decals. These were in single strips. And then this was another strip that I cut in half and flipped it. Actually, I think I took 2 because the decal sheets have these inverted stripes, so they actually symmetrical. They're not the same direction. I mean, you know what I mean? They're opposite directions, so it looks like a left and a right. There's like a left and a right hand kind of thing. So I was able to do that, and then I did the same here, so they meet in the middle, and that's where the changes. You can see the direction of the pattern. They run the same directions on both sides, so it looks a lot nicer, I think, than just. To me, I notice it, but you know, maybe I'm the only one. Just stuff like that, those little things I like to make symmetrical, you know, so it doesn't look like somebody just rolled out a piece of tape and. I actually had some thought into it. So, yeah, that's where we're at. I wish I'd had, like I said, I didn't have power today, so I was going to do some clear coating. I wanted to gloss coat this stuff, seal it, maybe flat coat the whole thing, and then start weathering. But obviously, I couldn't do that today. Today just didn't work out because of our power was out for hours and hours. I mean, I think it went out at 9 in the morning and just came back on around 4. So I went and grabbed some dinner from a little Thai place down the street, so we didn't have to worry about trying to cook. And plus, we didn't want to keep opening the fridge as many times as possible because of the power being off. Wanted to keep everything as cold as we could, so we did that. But yeah, so I kind of couldn't do as much as I wanted to. So I threw this together and trying to get this live stream up and running today with little to no time to plan it, which I guess is my fault. Whatever. So I'm really liking the way this came out. I'm going to do there'll be some streaking, I think, too. I know this is the inside of a ship, so it's got to be fairly clean, I think. In my opinion, it's not going to be rusty. being as it's inside of a ship, but there will be some grime and maybe a little, a few leaks here and there, stuff like that. I did put some decals on today. I think I said this already. I put some decals on the sidewalls in the sunlight. That's all I had available to me with my windows, my blinds open, so I could see what I was doing. But yeah, I think once I get all this sealed up and finished, once I flat coat all this, I think what my first step is, I got to seal all this and flat coat it so I can start weathering it. Then I can put the LED, because I don't want to spray anything with LEDs in place. So I want to be able to spray all this down, seal it, and then I can start installing my lights. So my and what I'm using is, these are 5mm. They're called I think they're called straw hat or hat top or flat top, whatever you want to call it. But they're a flat top wide angle LED. So they don't just project light straight down. It's more of a wide angle. And with putting 6 of those in here, it kind of just lights up the back wall a little bit. I'm not expecting it to light up the Valkyrie that much. But I don't have real strong battery right now, so once I get the right amount of power to these lights and they look, they light up fully, we'll see. But it should just kind of light up this back area, especially with this sitting here. You kind of see how this is kind of a shady area in the back. It's a little bit darker, so I think just a little bit of light will kind of brighten that up. And then there's enough sticking out here that I don't need to worry about lighting the front of the Valkyrie. It's just basically to look at the back wall and to see everything that's kind of hanging out in the corners. I'm not sure what I'm going to put in the corners. I might put some gear or material, but again, it's a hanger. It's not going to be cluttered. It shouldn't be cluttered with junk. I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? Would you put some leaking oil barrels, or would you do, that kind of stuff? What would you do if you were building this? I'd be curious to know. So I think what I'm going to do then is I'll keep working on these sidewalls, those little filler sections I was talking about. So pop these back off. And they fit snug. Guess I pressed them down a little tighter than I thought. Hang on, this one's being a little bit. There we go. Just had the breaker loose. All right. Let's set that aside. So what I had this piece here. No, actually this one right here. This was on here with a little bit of shimming there to shim that up, and then a short piece right here. Yeah, I think that's going to work out nice. I just put that just like that. Yeah, then I can just mask the side off and paint it. It won't be an issue. But this it'll look cleaner, a lot cleaner. I might actually take some more of those strips and just run down the side of this as well, just to clean up that edge, so you don't see any of this. Because a lot of these little gaps here and here, those are actually for assembly purposes. When you're putting these pieces, these lock the joints together. When you put another panel up against it like this. This is actually a lock. Locks those two together. This one just kind of had its own little hook that went on there. But the back wall is filled with them. Let's see, these are all joiners, all these pieces. So I don't want to see those. I'm trying to clean them up as much. In fact, I did a lot of that work on the actual base itself. If you looked at the floor, this is the back. You see all these gaps. That's what this whole edge looked like. all the way around, but I filled this in with styrene. And I wasn't worried about getting it perfectly smooth because, again, there are panel lines and pieces bolted together and stuff like that. It's a hanger floor, so I just wanted to seal those off and make sure those edges looked cleaner than they did like that, or like on the side here. So that's what I want to do with the rest of this. I want to clean this up so you don't see all that, even though no one's really supposed to be looking at it, but it just looks cleaner to me. In the long run, I think it looks nicer. So that's why I'm going to do it. Mostly clean boy with tire marks and oil drips. Yeah, I'm going to do some fuel stains probably too. I've cut some AK actual wash that's called fuel stain, and it's nice because you can drop it and it just kind of spreads out and gives that look of not oil on the ground, but something that was, might have spilled or dripped. I think that will look cool. I'll do that in a few spots. I think there's got to be some grime on the floor of some kind. So yeah, I'm right there with you. It'll be clean, but it's not going to be pristine. Last time my other Valkyrie that I did in 05, I think it was 05. No, not that long ago. 2015, I think, is when I built that one. I took it to a show once, and they actually told me the reason why I didn't win the competition was because it was too clean. And I thought, all right, that's the last time I ever get accused of having a Valkyrie that's too clean. And I was just blown away. But I think at the time I was going for an anime look. So in anime, you don't always see the grime. You see something that looks clean, and there might be a scratch here and there, but it doesn't have a ton of grease and grime on it. But now this one, the one I'm building right here, I'm going for more of a realistic weathered finish. So yeah, we learn from those kind of feedback, and you move on and you do something different, make it better next time around. I think I'm going to actually glue this on. I like the way this looks. I've got this piece on here. It sits nice and flat, and I can just put some glue down. Need to get my hands on that hex gear. The what? Mostly good. What? Hexagear. What are you talking about, Julio? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Hexagear. Huh. Is that like a chain-based type thing or something else? Am I thinking of something else? So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on there just to hold that in place, and then I can go over it, go over this edge a lot nicer and get it tacked down nicely. Kotobukiya kit that looks fire, huh? It's called a Hexagear V-Thor. I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm not sure I've heard of that. I wasn't sure if you were talking about like a chain base or something. Because these bases, I've been getting people asking me the last few days as I've been posting pictures of this, where these chain bases came from. And I bought them years ago at Anime Expo in LA. One of those years back when I was still living in California, there was a store, a hobby store we used to be very good friends with up until recently, when he ended up selling his business to another guy, and the other guy kind of just pissed off the community. But it's unfortunate. But years ago at Anime Expo, he brought these to the show, and he had a booth there, and he was selling them. And I basically walked up and said, okay, I want one of each of everything. And it was all the hexagonal bases, and that's where these portions came in, and those angled ones on the back wall. This was like a hexagonal set, and then there was the regular square stuff. And I just bought a bunch of them, including the lighting kits. I still have the light kits. I haven't used them, but they have LEDs, little like floodlights that you can install. And the thing about these hanger bases is one thing they don't do is they don't try to hide wiring and stuff. For me, I don't want to see the wiring. It even bothers me when I see a model kit somebody put together and there's a bunch of a wire sticking out of his butthole, going down the back of behind the kit or something like that. That just bothers me. It's like, I want to try to hide that stuff. I want there to be some magic there where people look at it and it's lit up and they just go, how did you do that? I don't want to see a battery pack hanging out on the table behind him, or something like that. That's just me. But so I do my best to try to hide that stuff. And I think that's why I'm spending a little extra time doing this, is because I think this strip looks a lot nicer than this. If you look at them side by side, it looks way better. To me, it looks way better, It should bother the builder too. It does. I know it should. But that's the way we think. We think, yeah, it should bother. But some people just don't, either they don't care or they don't want to put the time into it, or they just, it doesn't bug them to the point where they don't think there's anything wrong with it. And there's nothing really wrong with it. It's personal opinion, really. But for me, I just prefer to clean up those edges. It's kind of like the base itself. This floor was full of holes. Every single one of these center sections here had 4 holes in it. It was all like this. It was all these kind of holes, and it was all for assembling the walls and stuff. Well, in this area here where nothing is going, I don't want to see 500 holes. So I went and filled them all. I took some 1/8-inch styrene rod and I drilled out the holes to match. And then because the holes were slightly smaller, but I had some 1/8-inch rod and I thought, this will look nice. So I just drilled the holes out and stuffed them in there, cut them flush and sanded them down. It could be any kind of base. Those, bases that a lot of these kits sometimes even come with, those basic action bases. They all have this. They all have these holes everywhere. And if you're going to use that, fine, but fill in the holes. That's all I'm saying. Just adds to the presentation, I think, a little bit more, especially if you're being judged on presentation. Having a base is better than not having a base, but having a clean base is going to win every time over one that's not. Yeah, we got scruples. I know. And I could be just old school and I'm just rambling about it, but that's just the way I was brought up in this hobby, was to pay attention to those details that that other people might otherwise ignore. So yeah, there we go. I like that. So that looks pretty clean. And then I will just mask this off, prime this, paint it. I may put a strip here or just paint this, but I'm going to cover this up. So I think I'm going to have to fill these holes or just cover it up with a strip of styrene. I think that's probably my best bet. I've got some, actually I have some wider stuff here, but it's thicker. However, it will still work nicely. Let me pull a piece of this out because the sides are a bit wider. Yeah, see, so if I take this, oh, check that out. That's almost perfect. So now if I put a piece of this on the side, just like that, that's going to finish that off really nice. I can cut that to fit. So I'm in good shape here. I got what I need. I should have enough of these pieces to clean up the entire edge, because I've got to go up the sides, and then I've also got to go across the top. This is the roof here, and then I've got a couple of gaps here. Well, that's all going to be covered up from that stuff. So that's what we're doing. What's new school? That's not quite what I meant, Julio, but you know what I mean. When I say old school, I mean like old way of thinking. You know that. I'm sure you do. You're just messing, but it's like a lot of the. It's like even in our jobs and in life, you know, this is going to show through. I'm going to have to hand paint some of that in there. No big deals. I got a little bit of this styrene that I just put down. There's actually a little tiny gap right in here. You can kind of see it right there. I'm going to have to clean that up and paint it, but that's no big deal. I can do that by hand. I think I like the way that works, though. Works nice. Now I just got to duplicate it on the other side. So take this. Let's see, this strip goes here. Yep. All right. Oh, that's one separate. Okay. But then I'll take my get my chopper back out here. Cut us some pieces off. I think 3 will do it. That's pretty much what I did before. All right. It was a bit wider too. You have to take the edge off that right about there. There we go. This was that scrap piece I cut. The first one I cut, it was a little too wide, so I'm just reusing it. I figure I might as well not put it to waste. I'm just going to take that and trim down these edges so it'll fit better with the piece that I'm using. All right. There we go. Let's do that. Take this back over there. All right, Mike. Lots time for me to roll. Have a great rest of the night. Happy pre-birthday. Oh, thanks, George. Thanks for stopping in, buddy. I know it's late for you. It's like after 10 o'clock. So, yeah, man. Appreciate all you do. And yeah, should be a fun week, a fun day tomorrow. Hopefully, see if my coworkers take me out to lunch or not. Something like that. We'll see how that goes. See you later, George. Just putting a dab of glue here to get this, hold this styrene in place until I get it lined up perfectly, and then I'll hit it again. There we go. All right, we'll do that 2 more times. Just a little bit of glue. And all I'm doing really is I'm shimming this up. So because these little divots here, there's one here right where the corner hits, and I want to make sure that there's no gap there. So I have to shim this up slightly just to fill it in. This one's slightly different than the other side, so I want to make sure. I'm going to try 2 first and see if I need to add a third. Nope, definitely going to need the third. Yeah, I wasn't sure. It looked like it might be a slightly smaller gap, but it is not. It is going to need it, so. Once I get that glue on there initially, then I can still move it into place exactly where I need it, and then give it one last touch to fully seal it. All right, so now this should lay down right on top of where I want it to. Yep, look at that. Perfect. Oh, I couldn't ask for better. That's perfect. Yep, and then this one will go right on there, just like that. Did I have one more piece? I thought I had. Where did it go? I thought I had another thinner strip. Or maybe it's this one. Or is that the 7? I guess it is this. All right, let me just measure this off and cut it. Well, I guess I'll glue this first. Why not? Just holding that in place. A little touch. There we go. Once I get it stationary, now it's not going to move. I can run glue all the way down the edge. Make sure it sticks. I think I need to pull this brush out a little bit. The glue is getting down there where it's not getting a whole lot left on the brush. But the funny thing is, I didn't realize those are adjustable for the longest time until I saw somebody actually do it. And I thought, are you kidding me? This whole time. I had no idea that that little brush inside was adjustable. So yeah, this is going to sit down nicely. Now I can run glue all the way down the edge. There we go. Good deal. Fucking what? What'd you say, Julio? What are you talking about, boy? So Julio, did I already ask you this? Are you coming to SCGMC this year? I know you were there the last time I went, which was back in, I think the year before the pandemic, right? 2019, right? November 2019. Oh, the brush is adjustable. Yeah, let me show you something. Okay. When you look at this, I don't know if you can even focus on it, if it focuses, but you can see that it's clear and that the brush portion is inserted about, a little over a quarter inch. You can pull that down and adjust it so it goes deeper into the bottle. Last year sucked. Yeah, it did. We weren't talking about last year. We're talking about right now. Right now, man. So I'm going to mark this piece so I can cut it. It will go right there. Ah, knocking shit over. Probably this year, but most likely next year. Well, that's cool. You know, I was glad I was able to meet you that one time in person. Back whenever it was. Doesn't always work out. I didn't go last year. It was still too early after all the pandemic shit going on to try to think about getting on a plane. Actually, last year, the trip I did take was to California, but that was San Diego because I was going for the Baja Rally. That was the only time I actually got on a plane since pandemic. Yeah, 19. That's what I thought it was. Because I was going to say, I know we didn't do anything 2020 because everything was shut down then, for sure. And then even last year, 21, they did an online contest. Didn't really, actually, no, last year they did do 2019 we went. 2020 they had online, I think, and then last year they had an in-person one, but it wasn't quite as crowded, I think, because everybody was still getting their legs back. But yeah, we got both of those edges cleaned up nicely. So now I'm just going to figure out the next step. You know, how I'm going to finish the sides. I'm going to use those bigger pieces, but this is a little tricky up here on the 45-degree angle one. So the lighting is going to go here, and then one here. But I need to be able to bring the LEDs out without the wires getting pinched. So I'm going to have to either shave this down or just cut out a little spot on the side for the leads to move, because this is going to obviously go toward the middle, which would be this way. So I might just cut a chunk out of the side here. So when my LED's inserted, and then I can fold the leads down out of the way, and then I can actually cover this up without worrying about damaging any wiring. I think that's my best bet. Well, what time is it? It is 7:25. We've been on for almost an hour and a half. So the kit you're talking about that you finished this year, is that the one we just saw online that Brian was talking about earlier? Because if it is, then you nailed it, bro. You know, like there was one year I only did one build, and that was the big 120 Gerwag. And that took an entire year. So I was saying, if you take 1 year to do an entire project, but you nail it, then hey, man, it's all good. Nobody cares. Good day, fella. What's up, Craig? How you doing, man? I feel bad now because if you just popped in, I'm about ready to get offline here, but I'm just sealing up these edges behind the wall because I want to clean this all up so you don't have to look at the structural support and stuff. So I put some styrene strips here, a little bit of a shim. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of hand painting inside because you can see it coming through the back, but I can fix that easy enough. Either paint it black or the wall color, whatever. Yeah, these will go up like this, and those front edges will look very clean, very nice and straight. Yeah, I like it. It's subtle. It's not necessary, but for me, I like to make it clean it up a little bit, make it look nicer. So looks way better. And I can worry about my LEDs later. So all good, mate. I should be working. Oh, really? You're at work right now? I forgot where your home is. It's either Monday already or you work a night shift. Something like that. Yeah, all right. Okay. I can do the back wall later then. Actually, you know what? I can do this roof piece here. So I still have to, those are going to go like so. Oh boy. I might have to do that after I assemble it because I've got overlapping pieces there. Show you what I'm talking about. 2:30 in the afternoon. Oh, okay. Yeah, it is Monday for you. It's still Sunday night for us. All right, so this is supposed to go like this. Now, here's my problem. This is on the sidewall piece. This is on the roof here. So I'm going to have to join these two in order for me to seal it properly. I'm going to have to put that strip on after I get this assembled. So that answers my question. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. So the roof is going to stay there. Yeah, okay. So I can't do much with that. I'll have to leave that until next time, until I get further along. Indonesia. What's up, David? God, it's nice to have somebody from Indonesia. That's cool. That is a first for me. Very nice. Well, thanks for joining, bud. It's a Sunday evening, about 7:30 p.m. for me. What time is it in Indonesia? Just out of curiosity. That's pretty badass. Not sure if I met anybody from Indonesia over the years. I've got some friends in Australia and other countries. 10:28 a.m. All right. So you're just getting your day started then. Very cool. Very cool. Well, at least you can watch this stuff recorded if you don't get the whole show right now. Obviously, it's pretty early in the morning for you. But if it's that time for you on Sunday or Monday morning for you, if you have Mondays off or you're not working, then yeah, it would be around, well, if it's 10:30, then it would be 9 o'clock in the morning for you when I start my streams. It's 6 p.m. Pacific time here. So 9 in the morning, that might be doable, but it's not too terribly early to get up on a day off if you're not working. Cool deal. I like it. All right, so I think that's where we're going to call it for tonight. I've got to do some more planning on this, and I've got to do some clear coats before I can really go further on the painting part. I can prime those strips I just put on. I can take care of that, but I've got fresh decals here that I've got to seal. Oh, thanks, buddy. It's not quite Monday here, but I appreciate it. Early birthday. Thank you, sir. So yeah, I got some fresh decals on the floor, on the back wall, and on the side walls here that I have to seal with some gloss coat, and then I can flat coat everything. Do little touch ups in here from those new pieces of styrene I just put in. Before I can really start smashing out the lighting. I've got to get most of the painting done before so I can assemble it, because I think once I start doing the lighting for the back wall, it's going to have to be attached to the base. I'm not sure yet. Maybe not, but I've got a lot of maybe, because I do have wiring that's going to tie into the back. I'll figure it out. Sometimes I figure stuff out on the fly, But anyway, thank you everybody for coming in, hanging out with me. Like I said earlier tonight, it was wasn't even sure I was going to be able to get on today because we had a power outage for a good chunk of the day. It was from about 9 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon before we finally got power back. And so I wasn't even sure I was doing a live stream. So I kind of threw this all together at the last minute, pulled some supplies out, and kind of try to figure something out that I could do, because I really wanted to be further along with the gloss coats and stuff, but I couldn't run my compressor because I had no power, right? So I didn't get a chance to do any of that today, but I did do some decals under the sunlight that was available through my window, and that was these on the sides, which you might be able to see. I can show these again. There were some red ones there, and some caution stickers in the center, or caution decals in the center. And then around those little circles there's even one that says rotational hazard. And these are all from Mecha Decals via USA Gundam Store. So do yourself a favor, go buy them. Sheets 1 are on sale in all 3 colors and both scales. They're on sale for $3 a sheet right now, which you can't beat for cartograph decals, which are the number one best decal I think on the planet as far as the quality, because they're crisp, they're legible, and their carrier film is very thin. But they're durable, and it's everything you want in a decal. You get it. And there's 4 sheets available. 3 colors per sheet and 2 scales. So that's 24 sheets of decals that everybody needs to go and at least buy 1 or 2, but go get them. What's up, Jerry? Jira? Is that Jira? I hope I'm saying that right. Jira? Where are you from, by the way? I don't think I've met you before. That's sweet. They're all right. Yeah, what do you mean they're all right? They're better than all right, buddy. and believe me, guys, look, I don't get a kickback from these. I'm not selling them. I'm not associated with USA Gundam Store in any way. I just think they're really good, and I'm having great success using them, and I've used them a little bit in the past, and I've started using more of them on this base. So, if you like decals, if you like markings, you want to have just a bunch of generic type markings that you can put on any mecha, then go get some. That's the way to go. So, boosh. All right, guys. So we're gonna call it a night. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate everybody that supports this art form and supports me and my stream. I try to do it at least once a week. For now, that's all I can really spare, because I do have a family and stuff. So I pick Sunday afternoon, 6 p.m. Pacific, And, again, good night, everybody. Thanks so much. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I'm also on Twitch at twitchtv.gundemoniumworks. I think that's how you spell it. But anyway, yeah, I'm on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. So we will talk to you next week. Hopefully, actually, no, you know what? Next week, I'm going to be in California. So I won't be doing a stream next week. I might do a live stream on Saturday at the event. So look for that. It's going to be an unscheduled live stream if I do it. Most of the time, I like I said, I do Sunday afternoons. But next week, I'm going to be out of state. I'll be in California. And I will try to put something on to kind of give everybody a quick overview or a view of the event, and everybody can kind of see what's going on there. So we will talk to you in 2 weeks. If I don't see you then, thanks again. Have a great day.